are tiny plastic shards found in human testicles.
I mean, there you go. If we keep going like this, you won't have to worry about any babies.
Human testicles contain microplastics and nanoplastics at levels 3 times higher than animal testes and human placentas. Is testes a word? I guess it is.
Yeah.
And so it's like a technical word.
Yeah, it's balls.
Testes. I always thought it was slang. Short for testicles. Get them in the testes. These plastics are often nanoscale, typically less than half a micron in length, and maybe oh, Jesus Christ, man. I'm not convinced that testes is a word now. Read that sentence.
These are often nanoscale, typically less than half a micron in length, and maybe like 20 to 30. 20 to 30 millimeters.
And maybe does that sound like a fucking newspaper?
Well, I mean, it might as well write it because we always, I mean, we even say so.
Yeah, well, we're not writing an article, we're talking. And maybe like 20 to 200 nanometers in width. I mean, I don't know. This is pathetic. Anyway, they look like little shards, tiny broken bits from very, very old plastics, said Campen, a Regents Professor of Pharmaceutical Sciences at the University of New Mexico in Albuquerque. Such minuscule particles can invade individual cells and tissues in major organs, experts say, interrupting cellular processes and potentially depositing endocrine disrupting chemicals such as bisphenols, phthalates, flame retardants, and polyfluoroalkyl substances, or PFAS, and heavy metals. Endocrine disruptors interfere with the human reproductive system, leading to genital and reproductive malformations, as well as female infertility and a decline in sperm count, according to the Endocrine Society. A new study tested 23 preserved testes from cadavers who were aged 16 to 88 at the time of their death, then compared the levels of 12 different types of plastic in those testicles with plastics found in 47 dog testes. The level of microplastic shards and types of plastics in human testes were 3 times greater than those found in dogs, and the dogs are eating off the floor, Campen said, so it really puts into perspective what we're putting into our own bodies. Polyethylene, one of the most widely used plastics in the world, was the predominant type of polymer in both spaces, followed by PVC or polyvinyl chloride, another commonly used chemical that can contain chemical additives and heavy metals, including phthalates. Phthalates? I don't know how to say that word. Cadmium and lead. Phthalates, called everywhere chemicals because they are so common, are added to consumer products to make the plastic more flexible and harder to break. Ooh, that sounds good. Research is expected to find more plastic shards in the testicles of older men in the study, but that wasn't the case. It seems that in peak reproductive years for men, which is 20 to 45, there are higher levels of plastics, which then begin to decline after the age of 55. He said, this suggests that the human body can eliminate these plastics. Wait a second. How are they getting in there? I assumed it was because we were eating something. Or do you think it's because you're eating something, but it's because your body's making more cum? You're muted.
I don't know what you mean, body's making more of that. I mean, it's...
Well, why would you have more plastic in your testicles from 20 to 45, and then why does it start to decline at 55? I would just assume that it would just keep building on itself.
Oh, I see, yeah.
So
well, I guess not going there anymore. I got a couple years not to. I don't have to worry about microplastic.
Yeah, you're almost through it.
Years, so.
Okay, but there is a downside. The finding also suggests that the increased energy needs of a younger testicle may also pull more plastic into that organ. Oh, yeah.
There you go, yeah.
Add to that the fact that the number of plastics we're exposed to is doubling at a rate every 10 to 15 years, he said. So what's going to happen in 15 years when we're exposed to twice the amount, or 30 years when we're exposed to 4 times the amount? So There's more plastic than placentas.
I've got a great recycling clip on the climate change coming up. Oh my God. Like, I mean, this is like the type of stuff you'd think that they'd be like working on with the environment, right? The environmental stuff instead of our carbon dioxide footprint. Like, how about the microplastics and the plastics?